Every journey has a beginning. For us, it was 15 years ago in the Grand Tetons, a landscape that was not just magnificent, but inspiring.
We started Adventure Archives to show the beauty of the world, to show that the wild was not something to fear, but to revere.
To share the feeling of cool water on a hot summer day, the comfort of a campfire on a cold night, the joy of a sky filled with stars, and a warm meal shared with the best of friends.
Now, to celebrate 10 years of Adventure Archives, join us as we return to where it all started. It was an early morning in Pinedale, Wyoming, just an hour and a half south of Jackson.
We had stayed in a hotel the night before our big hike, and after packing up our gear, we went to have some breakfast.
Dude, I miss the nice mugs. Look how nice this mug is, and look at my styrofoam cup.
This is like the type of juice I had back in middle school. What a compartment to transfer juice to children. We enjoyed our breakfast and coffee, then got in the car and headed out.
Take us away, toys. We headed out of the hotel parking lot and headed north. Stunning mountain scenery surrounded us, made all the more majestic in the early morning light.
Eventually, we found our way to Jackson, where we spotted the motel we had stayed in 15 years ago during our first trip here.
Motel 6? Yeah, that is it. That is where we stayed. We now left Jackson, continuing north. As we drove, we saw more hills rising from the horizon. And then suddenly, all at once, we saw the majestic Grand Tetons.
We now arrived at the Craig Thomas Discovery and Visitor Center, where we checked the map and went over our route.
We would enter from the Death Canyon trailhead near Phelps Lake, then hike west through Death Canyon, camping along the way. From there, we would continue west, camping in the Jedediah Wilderness. Then we would continue east, camping another night in Upper Granite Canyon before heading through Open Canyon and making our way back out.
Now, we made our way to the trailhead, passing by the majestic mountains once again. As we neared our destination, the paved road was replaced by a rugged dirt one.
Do you live for these moments for your car?
It does feel good being able to go over some bumps with ease.
We arrived at the trailhead and got our gear ready.
I gotta wear Thomas's hat today. Forgot mine. Looking at myself in the reflection.
So, 15 years ago we came here and there was a man named Black George Simmons. He worked for the U.S. Geological Survey all his life. He's been to every single continent in the world. And he was working as a volunteer park ranger here. And he would give people root beer floats and just tell them all these amazing stories about his life. Stories about when he worked in a bordello in Texas or when he was hiking through the Himalayas in northern India. All sorts of crazy stories. He was just such a cherished memory of our first time here.
He's really the wise old man who gives you the sword at the beginning of the adventure. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
And Bryan, do you remember his catchphrase?
Yeehaw!
So this is the cabin where Black George used to live. We came here and he gave us root beer floats.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
Yeehaw!
We have a photo of all of us posing on that front porch with him. Yeah. That porch has barely changed these 15 years.
Last time I was here, I had one of those like paper-thin plastic ponchos to keep myself dry because I didn't think to bring a raincoat.
I remember when we first came to the trailhead, it started hailing, but the rest of the day was clear. And that was such a good lesson that mountain weather is unpredictable.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what we'll remember, because there's flashes of this that I have very vivid memories of, but this section, don't remember at all.
As we hiked along, Andrew spotted a few plants.
Right now we're still in a lower altitude ecosystem and there's lots of wildflowers blooming, one of which is fireweed. This is something that usually blooms August to September, and it actually blooms from bottom to top. So it's got a whole raceme of flowers, and you can almost use it like a calendar. If the flowers are blooming at the top, it's later in the year. And then I also saw a flower called monk's hood, which is named because the flower kind of resembles the hood of a monk, or like the hat like a Tibetan monk would wear. But it's pretty cool seeing all this blooming in the middle of August. Also all around here are some huckleberry bushes, and there's just one bush with a little bit of berries on it. I'm sure we'll see more as we get more into the mountains.
So are huckleberries exclusive to this area, or can you find them in other places too?
I think they're exclusive to this region of the United States. One time me and Thomas were out west in the Sierras in California, and all the stores were selling huckleberry flavored things, but they actually don't grow in that area. But you'll also find blueberries, which are related in different alpine regions. This environment is so lush, and there's several plants with red, juicy looking berries, one of which is called thimbleberry. We found that in Glacier National Park. It's called thimbleberry because it pops off and kind of has a hollow opening like a thimble. Very delicious. There's another one called twinberry, which is edible. There's two berries that are just kind of next to each other. And finally, there's red baneberry, which, as the name implies, is poisonous and a bane to your living.
So did you and Bryan dress like you're those two brothers from...
This is not intentional, I don't think. Well,
My pants, these were the only color they had left.
Yeah, and I just like the color green.
I got some new pants, so I'm excited. These are Fjallraven.
Does that still count as tan?
I got these because they were the closest to tan ones that they had.
So now that we're in an open sunny area, there's lots of meadow plants, lots of pink thistle flowers growing everywhere. Lots of thistles are edible, and artichoke is related to that. And yeah, there's also some aster flowers and some big flowers in the parsley family growing in this area. Alpine areas like this often have several different biomes in close proximity. These lower meadow areas were full of a variety of plant life, including goldenrods and the iconic quaking aspen tree.
Nature's beauty was all around us, in the distant vistas past acres of conifer trees, and in the smaller, subtler details beneath our feet.
So in this area, we've got a lot of little serviceberry saplings growing, and occasionally you can find one with little edible blueberries on them. They're not related to blueberries, but the berries look very similar to blueberries and have a very similar taste.
We made our way past more thistle plants as we entered a grove of aspen trees, whose distinctive white bark made it clear we were in the west.
Nearby, we saw a bee pollinating some monk's hood flowers, and there was other wildlife about as well.
So some hikers coming from the other direction were telling us that there are some black bears off the trail. Not sure how close exactly, but we're on the lookout right now.
This I remember distinctly in my mind.
Same.
Yeah, this one I do.
Wow. Woo. Look at that. This is better than I remember.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Same, definitely.
We crested the hill and were treated to a stunning view of Phelps Lake.
Now we continued on, and we had only walked a few dozen yards when we spotted a black bear and her two cubs just off the trail.
Oh, yeah. The mother's like brown. Oh, it's cubs.
Yeah. You see something? There's 4 bears you just walked by.
What?
4 bears you just walked by.
4?
Yeah.
Shoot, I see
What?
them.
No, they're right over here. Come on. You can see it.
Yeah. 3, 2, oh, there's the mama.
Where?
Mama's right in the back. Oh, yeah, right. You see
That's
that
black bear, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a black bear.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
See you.
To the right of that bush.
You can see here now the bear.
There's a bear right over there, yeah.
Oh, here, I saw it.
Yeah, you see the bear. There's a bear and 3 cubs.
Yeah.
You got that, Robby?
And the brown color looks like.
Yeah, it's a black bear, but brown.
The bears were grazing on berries in the meadows. We watched closely as they went up the hillside and edged towards the trail.
Yeah, the lighter one. Some hikers who frequent this park, and they said the bear is about 5 meters off the trail just up there, so we're all kind of stopped just to make sure they get a good distance away before we actually pass.
And then they found their way onto the trail, so we all started backing up.
There's three bears just below you.
It's important to calmly back away, not run from bears, especially if there's a mother with her cubs.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, they're coming up the trail.
Yeah, the cub's actually walking up the trail right now. Man, he just really wants to come up the trail.
We all had our bear sprays ready, just in case. But as long as we kept our distance and talked at a normal volume, we would be fine.
Mostly just its ears. I don't see the mother anymore. Oh, it's walking back down.
This is quite a start to our hike.
Yeah.
The ranger did specifically mention bears near here, so.
Both grizzly and black.
Whoa.
2 of them are coming. Nope, 3.
Oh, Mama's coming too.
Yeah, I would suggest we go back a little bit.
Mom's coming on the trail.
All 3 bears were now on the trail, so we continued moving back.
Let's keep going. Sometimes the mom puts the cubs in a tree when she's a little bit more aggravated there, so let's give her more space.
We definitely felt safer since we were among a group of about 30 hikers, but we had a lot of distance to cover today, and we were worried about the delay that this would cause.
But eventually, the bears cleared the trail, and we continued hiking, careful not to step in the parting gifts they had left behind.
Is that 45 minutes?
30 minutes at least.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a delay. They came up right on this trail.
There's more adrenaline coursing through me than I expected.
Still not as scary as the grizzly, but
Yeah. Well, we're also in a
we're in a huge group this time.
Yeah, so the bears were down here originally. And then they went up the trail over there.
Yeah.
We had barely started hiking again before we came across another group of bears.
It was a mama and 1 cub this time, and thankfully, they didn't stick around for too long.
I imagine they are feasting on these service berries here, which are quite tasty. I'm gonna try one too. If I was a bear, I would like those.
Go, bear.
Finally, we continued on. Phelps Lake looked inviting in the distance, but the granite bluffs of Death Canyon were our destination today.
Go, bear.
So this is Phelps Lake. This is the place we camped at during our second ever backpacking trip and our first ever trip to this park.
Yeah, I'm already feeling a little better. And at this point 15 years ago, I was feeling pretty pooped, pretty exhausted on the trail. Now I feel fine.
Yeah, I think overall we'll be fine, but we did lose a lot of time just now. It's just before noon. We probably still want to do 5 to 6 miles today. I guess we'll see.
So we came across some rangers. They were aware of the bears we just went across. They also mentioned the bear in Open Canyon. And they said it wasn't aggressive towards humans, but it does very much want food and it might beeline towards us. So they just said be careful around the Mount Hunt Open Canyon area and also to get photos of it if we could.
We now entered an open, rocky area where we had a clear view of the mouth of Death Canyon.
I remember last time we were here, we were looking at Death Canyon. It was kind of getting nighttime at that point. It looked so foreboding. It still looks pretty foreboding, actually.
The comforting thing is that we're not going to the top of the rocks, we're going through the canyon itself.
Now we headed towards the canyon, saying a temporary goodbye to Phelps Lake, the place we had camped all those years ago. You know, the more I think about it, I feel like hiking at the base of the mountain is the best way to experience mountains.
See, this is what I've been trying to say.
Because you get this amazing view of the mountains, and it's not difficult.
Exactly.
Are those some raspberries right there?
Those are thimble berries. Okay. Oh yeah, let's try some.
Fantastic.
freshest berry. Wow, that is really good.
It's so soft that it's like you're just eating a thing of jam. Gotta lick all the juice off my fingers so the bears don't get them.
Yeah, bear. Everybody's adrenaline back down.
He wasn't trying to feed me that. I'm good.
I don't honestly know what I was doing.
Using it as a pointer. Is your adrenaline down? Is your adrenaline down? My adrenaline was coursing more than I expected.
I'm mostly frustrated.
Yeah,
We
the
lost so
time.
much time.
It's part of the adventure. Sometimes you got to get your bearings.
It is pretty interesting that every time it seems that we run into bears, it's always apparent with the cubs.
Yeah, that's crazy that we've seen so many.
Because that's what they always say to specifically look out for. You don't want to get in between them.
I think both times, this and Glacier, we've been out when like pre-hibernation season's about to start. Anyone want some of this?
Nope. There are too many mixtures of foods in there.
We've got gummy snacks. We got some Oreos. Got these chocolate clusters. Ooh. And these little combo pretzel things.
Yeah, we got 5 miles left. Bad news is it's all uphill from here.
I don't like that weather.
It was overcast, and a gust of wind had us concerned about rain. With several miles to hike today, we cut our snack break short and kept moving. And along with the potentially inclement weather, we saw more signs of recent bear activity. We continued hiking, making our way past pink clumps of thistle flowers. Granite boulders now surrounded the trail, and we passed by what looked like a small campsite.
And nearby, Andrew spotted a plant we had seen before.
So this flower is the Western Mountain equivalent of wood sorrel for Adventure Archives. This is called Indian paintbrush or paintbrush flower. And the red petals here are actually edible. You just can pick them off and eat them like a little herb.
You know we talk about it a lot because when me and Thomas were hiking once, I actually pointed it out.
So over here is another edible berry. These are raspberries. Out in Ohio, they're only ripe when they're black, but this one just fell off, so let's see how it tastes. Ooh, that's good. Yeah, very clear raspberry flavor.
Oh yeah, quintessential raspberry.
The trail led deeper into the yawning canyon. Below us, we saw a rushing creek at the bottom of the valley.
And as we hiked, some light rain started falling from the sky.
This is some typical mountain weather. Get some sunniness with rain at the same time. It's like it hasn't been blue skies all day, and now we got blue skies here.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
The strange weather was mesmerizing, but we had to keep hiking. And Andrew spotted a plant with edible fruits.
So I believe this is a type of elderberry. Some of the characteristics are the multiple leaflets on a single leaf, and obviously the umbel of berries that grow out.
We continued on, and the sun was shining brightly.
Deeper into the canyon, we saw several large granite boulders scattered all about. Although we weren't hiking up to the top of the bluffs around us, the trail still had a steady incline.
How's the uphill so far?
I don't know, about what I expected for now, but I think tomorrow's going to be the killer, right?
Did you expect it to be bad?
I always expect it to be bad.
This is supposed to be one of the harder uphills, so tomorrow there's going to be another one at the end, but it shouldn't be as bad.
During our original trip to the Tetons, we had explored part of this canyon before turning back, and our surroundings were starting to look pretty familiar.
Thomas was pointing out that he thinks this is where we might have stopped last time. Basically, last time we camped at Phelps Lake, but we did a little day hike up this canyon just to check some of it out. But we didn't go past this point, so.
At this point, my memory is like so hazy that you could tell me we've done anything. I'd be like, oh yeah. Yeah, I recognize that for sure. How about you? Do you remember anything? I feel like you're the least likely to be guilty of hyperbole.
I honestly don't remember this part, but like the more I look at this, the more it does seem familiar. Like we could have come here and said the exact same things when we saw this view.
As stunning as the scenery was, it didn't distract from the rich diversity of flora in this unique ecosystem.
There's some shrubs along here with some white flowers and white berries. Those are called snowberries, which is a toxic berry. Before the flower opens, it can almost kind of look like a blueberry bush, so just be careful, you don't accidentally munch on them. feels like we are going to another realm right now.
Wow, dude.
So, when Andrew was saying earlier about crossing into another realm, it's kind of true. When I went here for the first time in 2008, there is some part of me that really just wanted to know what was on the other side of the Tetons. So my hope is once we get through this canyon and keep going up, we should start to see and get a sense as to what's on that other side there. But I've been always wondering what that's like in person for the last 15 or 16 years.
Further into the valley, we noticed a sweet smell permeating the air around us.
Well, all around this hillside is something called spreading dogbane. It's got all these little pink flowers, and I think that's the source of our smell. Yeah, take a whiff of this.
Oh yeah. It smells like the entrance to a grocery store when you've got those flowers.
You know if Robby can smell it, it's fragrant.
Besides the stunning mountain scenery, we were also treated to sights of gnarled pine tree roots, steep rocky hillsides, and a bright green hornworm caterpillar. And then, suddenly,
I think that's our signal to just keep going. Not dilly-dally too much.
Should hear it any second.
Robby, it's on time. It's 1 o'clock. Every day in the mountains in Colorado, between 1 and 2 o'clock, it starts to storm for maybe an hour or so.
And it is 1:15 right now. So, similar type of deal, I think.
The sounds of thunder echoed through the canyon, adding to the raucousness of the rushing cascades below.
The sky seemed to darken as we ascended up hills covered in rocky scree.
eventually, the rain started coming down hard, so we stopped to rest under the cover of some trees.
Yeah, I don't know how it is in the mountains, but typically waiting it out is always a smart idea.
The good news is we got about 0.6 miles till we're done with the bigger uphill. So we're actually already like pretty close to, like 2/3 of the way up the big uphill.
Meadow.
Yeah. That thunder was so foreboding, but right now this is just so peaceful.
Well, waiting it out was the right move. It's been 15 minutes and it's already, I don't think it's actually raining.
I might take this off before I start
Yeah.
hiking again.
I like that we're all sticking together too. I actually do, like, since we were this one.
Did we not in the past or something?
I'm just mostly topping. Oh.
Yeah, this would be a stop that I would approve of.
Tom is sanctioned to stop.
Built it on the map.
Noted.
After a short while, the sun even broke through the clouds.
That is hilarious how quickly this changes.
Our spirits were significantly lifted with the bright sunlight and clear skies, and we were hoping that the weather would stay like this for the rest of our trip. A few residual drops of rain fell from the sky above, while the stream below continued rushing along. We continued uphill, stopping every so often to look at the valley view below us.
That is an entire slope full of thimbleberries. That is a huge bounty.
Surprised the bears aren't here.
I'm glad.
Nearby, we also saw some currants.
What's that smell, Andrew?
Well, this here is some sort of a mint herb. I'm not sure what exact species, but that could be giving off some fragrance because it's in the mint family.
Yeah, let's go check out this water real quick.
There was a small offshoot path leading to the stream. I decided to fill up on some cool mountain water so I could filter it at camp later.
And wherever there's water, there are usually colorful wildflowers growing nearby. Deep purple monk's hood flowers, bright pink fireweed, and golden asters.
Clouds kept swirling above us, hiding away the sun as more rain started falling.
It's actually raining fairly hard right now, but I feel like we've kind of just given up on stopping every time it rains, and we're just gonna hope it's gonna be on and off.
This is a weird blend of sensations. It's sunny, it's rainy, it's windy. I don't know if I'm cold or warm. Feels kind of good though.
And just like that, the sun came out, revealing granite cliffs looming in the distance.
Oh!
It's like we've entered Valhalla. The Halo 3 version.
And as we entered Valhalla, we were awestruck by its beauty.
A lot of the places back home we hike, it's mostly sandstone. This is solid granite, as some people would say. And you can see there's these seams of calcite or quartz. I'm not a geologist, but just running through it, really beautiful, hard. You also notice these rocks are much more jagged compared to the sandstone, just because it's much harder for erosion to weather them down. Holy cow. Look how lush this is. It's like a little peaceful oasis. Tiny slice of heaven.
You know how we usually say like top 5 campsite, like top 5 trail? It's a top 1 trail. We're trying a new water filtration system here. This is what I see a lot of people on the Appalachian Trail use. This looks like a science experiment I made as a kid. Kind of does, like a tornado or something. Oh, hey, that's nice. This one's dirty, and then I put the Bucky sticker on the clean one. I would have put the beaver sticker on the dirty one, personally. But to each their own.
The scenery around us was perfectly idyllic, and the surrounding bluffs were almost reminiscent of Yosemite. It was astounding to think a place so breathtakingly beautiful and so peacefully placid could be hidden away in a place called Death Canyon.
That water is just so crystal clear.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
With how peaceful the scenery was, it was no wonder why this was such a perfect refuge for wildlife, including the Steller's jay.
The trail continued through meadows and forests before brushing up along the banks of a calm, quiet creek.
All right, I can't pass up this opportunity for this perfectly still water. Maybe not perfectly still, but much more inviting. Oh yeah. Oh, hey, you gotta try this.
There's a cabin up here.
Oh, wow. Oh, we got a trail junction up here. We're actually kind of coming up on the area where you can start to camp. The further we go in, the less hiking we have to do tomorrow.
Do we keep going this way, I think?
Yes. Yeah, dude, hiking in a canyon is definitely the way to go. Because this has all of the views that we've gotten from any mountain we've ever climbed, but with like 15% of the effort.
And you're just in this lush environment too. Like, this is paradise.
Why is this called Death Canyon?
That's a good question. I see a lot of Life Canyon in here. Yeah, whoever named this Death Canyon must have come in the middle of winter or something.
This is one of those times where words really fail you. Like, I hope it's coming across in the video because this is indescribable.
And it seemed the further along we hiked, the more life we saw. Sprawling, sunny meadows, cool, refreshing streams, and lush vegetation.
Got some willow growing here, which is a medicinal tree. The bark can be used like aspirin. It's actually the component that created aspirin. And we've also got some bluebells nestled in the rocks over here. We've got some stinging nettle growing here, which I actually didn't expect to find here, but it is something that grows along the forest edges and areas like this. If you touch it, sometimes the needles will sting you and leave a little painful welt for a bit, but it's actually an edible plant. You can roast it or cook it and it gets rid of those spines and it's really delicious. Also great for making a natural cord.
If you want to see Andrew sting himself, refer to past episodes, not this episode.
Our Germany episode.
I'm going to overlay this on the screen, but you look exactly like Lancelot in Tactics Ogre. Bryan, and you're his squire.
Come, squire. We have dragons to slay. We continued hiking along the tall willow shrubs, enjoying the alpine scenery all around us. Jagged granite rocks and towering conifer trees.
The smell of fresh mountain air filled our lungs as we took in all the sights of nature. Bright yellow buttercup flowers grew alongside serviceberries and other plants.
So these are lupine flowers. They're a very common alpine flower. They're actually in the pea family, although they're pretty different from a lot of the pea plants you'll see back in the east. Notably, the leaves are arranged in sort of a palmate thing, meaning it kind of fans out, but they just have this stalk of flowers that's really beautiful.
And up ahead, we saw more bear poop.
Wow, that is super fresh.
The further we traversed the canyon, the more impossibly beautiful it seemed.
I think I'm going to quote Arnold Schwarzenegger here. Can you believe how much in heaven I am? Isn't this just the type of place you've only ever dreamed of going to?
What would our 15-year-old ago minds have thought of this? Like, man, Hocking Hills and Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes were life-changing for us. I can't imagine what we would have thought of this.
Makes me wonder if I could have even appreciated it as much back then. You know, we would have thought it was really amazing, but we wouldn't have been able to have anything to compare it to. I think now we can just appreciate it even more based on everything we've seen in our life.
What is that?
That's more fireweed. You can kind of see how the flowers are blooming part way up through where the stalk is. Below the flowers, they've already got seed pods, and above, they're not open yet. It blooms from bottom up, so the higher in elevation, the later in the bloom they are. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
We were now completely surrounded by cliffs on all sides. Far in the distance, a towering waterfall cascaded down the granite. The scenery was so amazing that Andrew felt inspired to sing a little tune.
Can you never change your socks?
Continue.
And the big rock candy mountains.
Nobody said you could stop singing.
I was mostly singing for the bears.
The trail now crossed over a stream, and on the other side, we found a nice spot to rest.
Got room for the four of us.
Room for one more.
Oh yeah. Needs a little ledge for the backpacks too.
After enjoying a nice sit, we continued on.
I think I'm being affected by this altitude more than the other guys because I'm getting winded, even on really easy terrain.
We are at 8,000 feet, so that's, I feel like, right about where.
This feels steeper than the initial uphill, which was supposed to be much steeper than this. So I don't know what's going on.
Just up ahead, we came to the start of the Death Canyon backcountry camping zone.
So anywhere from here until they tell us not to, we can camp.
You want to camp right now? This is a great campsite.
And nearby were some edible fruits.
All right, so we've got some ripe huckleberries here. This is the iconic fruit of the Tetons.
clean my
Cheers.
produce just a little bit.
Oh wow, just like a blueberry. Sweet with a bit of tartness, but that full-on blueberry flavor.
Very earthy.
Oh, really?
Earthy. More earthy than blueberry.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, but still very, very good. Oh my god, yeah.
As many times as we've had huckleberry stuff, I don't know if I could actually say what it tastes like. Oh yeah, I see what Thomas is saying. It does have an earthy quality to it.
It is very blueberry-esque though, isn't it?
Yes. It's like a blueberry pancake. When you bite into the blueberry, it tastes just like that. It was disappointingly short though. Like the burst happened and then I was like, oh, that's all?
Further ahead, we came across another campsite, but it was still too early to stop for the day.
Oh, what a shame, what a shame. Oh.
And so we continued on through the grassy valley.
Our uphill climb had gotten our stomachs growling, and food was on our minds.
What's everybody's hunger levels at?
Rising?
I'm like halfway. I'm not that hungry actually.
Andrew doesn't count.
Okay.
This was established like 8 years ago.
I'm super ready to eat. I brought so much food this time because I knew it was going to be extra long and I was like, no, I'm not going hungry.
Along the sunny path, we came across a small sign pointing to another campsite.
I don't know how you get up to it.
It looks like this fell over, but it looks like there's lots of options actually, which is good to know.
Wanting to make a little bit more distance, we kept hiking, but kept our eyes peeled for good sights. The trail and the terrain also began to flatten out somewhat.
I can feel it coming. I feel like there's gonna be a good one soon.
I'm down to take whatever campsite we get next.
Okay.
It is kind of funny when you don't know where the campsite is going to be, you kind of start having like your campsite intuition. You're like, oh, maybe, yeah, this looks like it could be it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, around this corner.
This looks like it could be nice and flat.
Yeah.
This is like the most excited I've been about finding a campsite in a while. It's gonna be some good times.
We now crossed over a stream and came to a sunny meadow with brilliantly vibrant wildflowers in nearly all the colors of the rainbow.
I feel like I got a frolic or something.
And it seemed we weren't the only ones enjoying the meadow.
Some large critter's been standing there. You can see all the grass is squished on all of it around it.
Yeah, we can do way better.
We continued through the meadows on our search for campsites. Although this was a camping zone where you could technically camp anywhere suitable, there were specific campsites that had been established as well. As it turns out, they were just up ahead.
Holy crap, this is beautiful though. All right, let's check this out.
Food storage is this way.
Group camp generally means it's for really big groups.
Want to go down that way, Andrew? See what you see?
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep going this way.
See if there's anything good at this group camp area. Oh, there's a nice open spot here.
I think this is that one we saw on this side of the trail.
Andrew, there's a campsite right here. Oh, this is it. This is it. Oh, baby. Oh man, this is perfect.
This is where we can set the tents up.
Oh man.
Oh, there's some bear storage right over here. Food storage.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Join us, Bryan.
Oh.
Welcome to the promised land. We even got a bear box.
Nice.
That is great, dude.
Dude, look at this front porch view.
You sure you don't want to go up ahead a little further just to see if there's a better one?
Yes.
It's always a little nerve-wracking when you start to see campsites fill up and you're like, uh-oh, uh-oh. But sometimes you get the best of the bunch.
We were overjoyed with our amazing campsite, and we quickly started setting up our tents so we could get the work over with and relax.
After setting up camp, we headed out to the trail to enjoy some snacks out in the open field.
I want to get in on the snack fest with them. With the brothers.
Dressed exactly the same brothers. If only I still had my long hair now at this point.
This moment is gonna be one of those lifetime memories.
Here you go. I'll feed you. That's pretty done.
They're not bad.
I'll take one. I don't want to take too much of your food.
Come and join us.
I'm enjoying.
It's good to own land.
Let me get something sweet out of there.
This is only sweet.
Oh, it's only sweet?
Pretty much.
This is like nuts and gum.
Yeah, when I saw you starting to put the jellies in there, I was like, no thank you.
After our snack break, we went to investigate the water situation.
So this is the group campsite. And hopefully there's a way to access the water. We can hear it. Just see if there's like any paths to get down there. Looks promising. Oh, yep. Great water source here. Can get on that rock right there, fill it up.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And thankfully, filling up on water was a cinch with our gravity filter.
While our main source of water was a gravity filter, I used my new filter to get the first batch of water boiling for this evening's dinner. Unfortunately, the jet boil wasn't sparking, but a ferro rod easily solved the problem.
Like a bunch of hungry marmots, we all gathered on a nice rocky surface as we waited for the water to boil.
You two look like you're part of the same rebel faction. Thomas over there is part of the Republic. Sorry, the Empire.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Oh, you know what I also need to do? Let's get into convertible mode. Oh, yeah.
The first batch of water had boiled, so we all gathered around to start dinner.
Succulent beef stroganoff?
Tell us about it so we can live vicariously through you.
Each bite is a little meaty, yet tender.
You doing that stroganoff too?
No, I'm doing the butternut dal butt.
Oh.
Are you doing the butternut dal butt?
I'm doing the chicken coconut curry.
Why does it sound enthused?
I licked my spoon a little bit and it was kind of sweet. I was like, I don't like that. I might be doing some trades here. Some lunchroom trades.
Oh, so this is your first time using the long spoon.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you gave me a long spoon.
This is like the shoehorn of eating utensils.
You never know you needed it until you have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time we ate, you guys just took pity on me. Like, look at you with your plebeian spoon.
Look at you.
You just gotta like scrape it in there. Your fingers getting all dirty and dusty. It's just sad.
I got the old spoon.
It's not even that different, but it's somehow it is a big difference.
Actually, the handle is almost half.
Oh wow, yeah.
See that?
Well, let's not sit here comparing spoon sizes.
There's a joke somewhere here.
This looks like the Ninja Turtles. How many grams of protein do your meals have?
You could tell when Andrew's in a good mood when he laughs at his own jokes.
I don't know how Andrew does it. He's like antithesis to hanger.
I've only been hangry like 3 times in my life. One was recently.
I'm hangry every day.
You're Hank Hill.
Remember to tell us how the spoon is, Tim.
Smells great. It's a little bit sweet, but not too bad. Okay. I prefer it less sweet.
It has a spoon.
But it's very tasty, and the spoon is life-changing.
This is better than I remembered.
Very good, that's better. I just need to stretch out. I'm like Heaton-bot.
That is some good home cooking, prepackaged freezed meal.
After dinner, we relaxed on the rock while our bard entertained us with some evening music.
This is like completely non-resonant. It's so full.
My hair bun is the perfect pillow right now.
Actually, you know, my backpack looks like it's in the perfect spot too. That's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. How fast those clouds are moving.
We lay on that rock as the clouds drifted by, and the sunset's golden rays spilled into the valley.
Returning to the backcountry of the Tetons after 15 years was a surreal experience. That trip was the first time the whole crew had backpacked together, and at the time, it felt like our eyes had been uncovered to the beauty that existed in the world.
Little did we know, we had only scratched the surface of what there was to find here, and we certainly had no idea of how much of a lasting impression this place would leave on us.
Being able to come back here to discover the alluring mystery of what lay west of the Tetons, and being able to share the journey on top of that, was a privilege we wouldn't take for granted.
And from what we had seen so far, we were sure that this adventure would reignite our passion for nature and help us rediscover just how unfathomably beautiful the wilderness can be. As the sun sank behind the hills, we settled into our tents for the evening. We were excited to lie down, relax, and enjoy the coziness of the tents.
This is the moment I've been waiting for all my life.
This is like peak luxury here. Like, you see this? This is like a headboard. Got a pillow. Got sleeping mats. You know what we were doing 15 years ago when we did this? We didn't have
any sleeping mats.
We had like barely a sleeping bag.
I had like a 40-degree bag.
I think my sleeping bag was like the one that you get.
The one you have like
a
sleepovers with.
Like, yeah, I legitimately think I had sleepovers at friends' houses in that bag. How are you supposed to know? There's no YouTubers out there showing you exactly how not to backpack.
This is true.
How you guys doing in there?
We're cozy. How about you?
Doing pretty good too.
Are you guys warm or cold?
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm not even in my bag yet, although Tom is a little chilly.
I'm a little chilly. I'm also getting a little warmer now.
Well, we've still got the door flaps open, so we're doing okay.
You see, I got the ventilation shafts open. On both sides.
They got the ventilation shafts.
The only problem we have is we both have wide sleeping mats. So my sleeping mat's kind of like up on the side of the door.
And it's still on my mat a little bit.
I have a narrow sleeping mat and no pillow. Thomas has a wide mat with 2 pillows and a night mask.
I feel like the only thing we're missing right now is snacks.
If only we could have snacks.
I was thinking I might go take a snack break.
I don't know, man. Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, that's true. I think we'll go back to watching Man vs. Wild.
Indeed.
Boring conversation anyway.
Chewy!
All right, good night.
Good night.
And so, dusk fell, and soon after, night's quiet tranquility embraced us, revealing a sky full of brilliant stars.
We started the next morning by brewing some hot coffee to warm us up.
How did you guys sleep?
Super well.
Yeah, you conked out immediately and just slept the whole night.
Yeah.
But the stars looked amazing.
The stars, that was the best Milky Way I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Damn, really?
It was the Milky Way, dude.
All right, well, tomorrow night.
The coffee is mediocre.
It's pretty good, pretty good. It's not sour, so I actually don't feel as tired as I thought I would, though.
I feel well rested. I guess I should say I feel very well rested.
Same.
I feel like I could fight Andrew in Kung Fu.
I'm ready.
Andrew's like, I've been waiting for this day.
Eventually, we all woke up, and we decided to head out to the meadow to catch some of the sun's warmth.
I'm feeling pretty good about today's hike.
Yeah.
We have a bit of easy hiking, then a big uphill, but then that's... I guess the one thing is we should temper our expectations and not expect a campsite this nice for the next couple nights.
Agreed.
Tonight we're in a little section of national forest. And then the next night we're in a camping area, but there's no designated campsites like this, so... But hopefully Lady Luck will stay on our side.
Yeah.
The entire meadow, from its colorful clumps of wildflowers to its elegant stalks of grass, shined in the morning light, as though gilded in golden sunbeams. It was an undeniably divine sight.
Back at camp, we started to pack up our gear. We weren't in any major rush today, so we took our time with it, and I stretched out my legs to prepare for the day's journey.
Thomas looks like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Hard Target. Actually, more like Universal Soldier, I think. Bryan and Andrew look like the goons from an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
And with that, we were off. Today, we would continue through the Death Canyon camping zone. Thankfully, the start of our hike was flat, easy, and full of lush greenery and beautiful scenery.
Yo, canyons are where it's at. You get all of this nice wildflower activity, no terrain.
Speaking of which, there's a lot of larkspurs in this part of the meadow. It's these little purple guys here. It's called larkspur because on the back of the flower there's this little spur on the flower that sticks out.
Nearby, we also saw some wild geraniums.
Look at this lone tree right here. That's not the same type of tree as the other ones, right?
Like the pines?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's weird. Why is there just one random tree?
I mean, that
amongst all
happens.
those pines?
Nature is chaotic and
You
random
mean a random
force.
tree among the pines?
Just beyond the pines, we spotted another pile of berry-filled bear poop. Thankfully, there were no bears in sight.
Up ahead, the grass thinned out, revealing an expanse of flat, smooth granite.
I'm gonna go take a quick look.
Here and there were piles of stones, some of which seemed to have been arranged as fire rings. In other parts, the granite seemed to have been weathered in a strange, lumpy pattern.
Back on the main trail, we passed by another campsite in the distance. Now, the trail turned and gave us a perfect view of the Death Canyon shelf in the distance.
Wow.
Like the Grand Canyon no one ever told you about.
That looks fake.
I feel like we made a lot of progress really quickly. This seems so much further.
In a dry creek bed, Andrew spotted some flowers nearby.
Oh man, this is why I love this area, is it's so rainbow colorful. But we've got the classic Indian paintbrush. These ones are more of those lupine flowers. It looks like there's some yellow aster flowers, but I'm not sure exactly what the species are. And then these ones are in the carrot or parsley family. Oh, and actually, I've only seen these red or blue, but these are some columbine flowers. but they're just completely white. But they have this beautiful shape to them with these long spurs in the back. Looking at this, it's like all your senses are heightened. Like you just suddenly realize how much color there is in the world.
I can't remember if I asked you this yesterday, but is there something special about these areas that make wildflowers so plentiful?
But this valley is just so fertile. A lot of snow melt too probably goes through here. So I imagine that's a big part of it.
As we neared the far end of the valley, we came across a field of strange-looking plants called corn lily.
It actually kind of smells like corn a little bit.
I wouldn't say it smells like corn.
It's very mild. I don't know if I imagined it.
Oh wait, I'm the one with the worst sense of smell. Never mind.
One of the other things we noticed here is something big decided to take a nap right here. Wonder what it was. There too.
Further along, we ran into some viewers on the trail.
So I'm Jeff Gates. I'm from Chagrin Falls, Ohio, east of Cleveland. Give a shout out to my wife Sue and my daughter Lindsay, my son Jack, and I'm excited to meet the Adventure Archives guys.
It's so funny meeting another Ohioan,
Yeah.
like way out here of all places.
After that, we continued on. The trail wound in and out of small groves of trees, and as we hiked, we passed by more signs pointing to established campsites.
There's a campsite up this way.
Well, there are plentiful campsites. We really were not in trouble yesterday.
Yeah.
But we don't know how many people were camping here.
That's
left
true.
already.
We still had plenty of distance to cover, so we kept hiking and crossed over a log bridge. On the other side of the stream, the meadow seemed especially rich, with colorful paintbrush flowers contrasting against the blades of green grass.
A group of horseback riders passed us by on the trail, which continued meandering in and out of the shady groves of softwood trees.
The trail was relatively flat so far, and we took advantage of it by going at a fairly swift pace.
How's everybody feeling?
Good so far.
Getting a little winded, but pretty good.
Yeah, the altitudes affect me more, but it's been easy so far. The big uphill will mark sort of the latter half of our trip.
About a mile or so till we get to the uphill part.
The shelf seemed more and more tangible as we neared the uphill section of the hike, and the colorful wildflowers continued to impress us with every step.
I straight up feel like Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music right now. Look at this.
Let your hair down. I don't know what she looks
She
like.
actually had short hair in that movie. The hills are alive. Yeah, this is crazy, man.
I think it's Julia Andrews.
Clearly, we're all experts on Sound of Music.
The meadow danced in the wind as we hiked through the vibrant vegetation, which contrasted with the bare granite cliffs surrounding us.
Further along the trail, we now had a clear view of the journey ahead. We've been in Death Canyon now for like the last 2 days. So our objective is really to get out of this canyon up on kind of near where the shelf is. So we're going to keep hiking back to the end of this canyon here, and then we'll take switchbacks until we get to the top.
So the part we're going to is there. The shelf trail is up there, and you can basically just follow the canyon all the way back. But we will be going somewhere over there.
The canyon seemed to open up even more now, and small rivulets snaked through the fields of wildflowers. Here, we were treated to stunning vistas that made it feel as though we had been transported to the Alps.
And there are just no words to describe how this feels and how this looks. And also Thomas pointed out that if you turn around, you can actually see one of the snow-capped mountains of the Tetons peeking over the cliffs over there.
When you're walking, you just keep looking at in front of you and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And then you turn around and you're like, wow, that's even better.
But even in the forested areas, where the trees blocked the view, we were treated to the captivating sight of wildflowers swaying gently in the breeze.
We were now approaching the uphill portion of the hike, and we decided to find a spot to rest before continuing on.
I got these dill pickle cashews and mixed it with the rest of my mixed nuts. You know what it tastes like is a McDonald's hamburger. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. I love the flavor of a little picklage. You could pickle flavor a lot of things and it's still quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, a little flavor goes a long way.
Yeah.
We let ourselves linger a bit, enjoying the stillness of the scenery from our shady little spot.
But eventually, we got to move on. We still had a little bit of the flat trail left to hike before reaching the big uphill.
Luckily, today's weather was absolutely perfect, and the hike so far had been a breeze.
We crossed over a small stream, and on the other side, we passed by another established campsite.
Maybe you guys weren't worried about it, but last night I was really like, oh man, I don't know if we're going to be able to get a campsite. And today has proven that we really did not need to worry about it at all. Okay, so we should be coming up to a fairly big stream crossing, and then after that stream crossing, we're just going to zigzag our way up there.
If you look up idyllic in the dictionary, this is the picture they have. It's like a cartoon.
This is like a cartoon.
The scenery was truly stunning, and as we neared the cliffs, we could see snowfields in the distance. Up ahead, we came to another sign on the trail.
Well, we're leaving the Death Canyon camping zone, so now we're gonna head up and go into the national forest at some point. Beyond this, no camping. So this is going to be 780 feet.
Over how long of a distance?
1.1 miles. Yeah, it's gonna be steep, but it's gonna be short, so.
All right, let's do it.
Now, we took one last look at Death Canyon behind us before starting our ascent.
As we ascended out of the canyon, we thought about how, after 15 years, we had finally gotten to experience the beauty that was tucked away in this valley for all those years.
And we still had so much ahead of us. We wondered what other amazing sights there were for us to discover upon the hills. But
we still had quite a climb ahead of us before getting to the top. and today's uphill was far steeper than anything we had done on this trip so far.
How's the elevation treating you today?
Definitely feel the elevation more than I did yesterday, but this is rough, but it's actually not horrible, you know. Every time you stop and look around, you just feel instantly refreshed. So our neighbors had hiked up here in the morning and come back down, and they said it wasn't too bad until about a half mile out from the top, where it just went straight up, and right about here is the half mile marker.
And it seemed that the altitude and the climb were already affecting Bryan.
It's such a weird feeling like you just immediately exhausted.
The altitude definitely made the incline much more difficult, but we kept persisting.
As we hiked, we heard a loud booming noise, and in the distance, we saw a plume of dust where a rockfall had just happened.
You can just hear that echo through the canyon.
Andrew, did you see it?
Yeah. Oh, I heard it first.
I heard it first too, and I was like, uh-oh.
Thankfully, we were safe from rocks falling on us, but the hike was still quite exhausting.
Okay. Yeah, at this part I can see why they said it just shoots straight up. This is quite steep.
We were close to the top now, so we gritted our teeth and kept putting one foot in front of the other.
Just starting to see a whole nother world past the top of these cliffs from our vantage point.
In the distance, we could see jagged, rocky cliffs rising above the Death Canyon shelf. Further off, we could make out the barren peak of Mount Hunt. Directly ahead, we could just make out the tip of Spearhead Peak jutting out from behind the rim of the canyon. And all around us was a fantastic view of the valley we had just climbed out of.
We climbed a bit higher now, revealing the dramatic landscape ahead of us.
Yeah, from here you can just see this whole flat highland up there. It's like a completely different realm.
The higher we climbed, the more our surroundings seemed to transform. After a few more switchbacks, we could already see much more of Spearhead Peak rising into the sky.
Wow, it's crazy how the view of the landscape just completely changes once you're up here. I didn't expect to see just this weird flat land.
Just a different world.
Yeah.
And apparently that mountain is, what was it, Spearhead Mountain? And I think we're gonna be hiking around that. Is this the crest of the hill here?
Yep. We may have to go up a little further just to see what's on the other side though.
Yeah. There's some signs up here though. Wow.
Jedediah Smith Wilderness.
We are officially leaving Granite-Teton National Park, entering the National Forest.
You guys want to see what's on the other side of this hill?
Well, I kind of want to go
to the shelf.
Up onto the shelf, just a little ways, and see what it's like.
We should go bring the packs at least over to the shade.
Okay, yeah, let's maybe set up camp, so to speak, over there, and then we'll just pop in and out.
Okay.
Oh, hey. This is tailor-made.
Now, Bryan would stay behind and watch our bags, while the rest of us did a quick hike over to the Death Canyon shelf.
Okay, Bryan, we will be back in about 30 minutes.
Have fun.
Time now is 2:23.
Oh my God, hiking without a backpack. Maybe I could be a trail runner.
So I mainly just really want to see what it looks like when you're on the shelf, for one thing, and two, what that canyon looks like when you can see the whole thing at once. If we just get just around that bend there, I think we should be able to make it.
Almost immediately, the trail started going uphill. This wasn't quite the relief we wanted after our steep climb up, but at least without our packs, it was hardly anything to deal with.
This is much easier than hiking with a pack, but I feel like there is a decent chance we'll come to regret this.
Before long, we had a great overview of the valley below, and we were much closer to the rocky scree and tall cliffs.
You know, these cliffs here look a lot less foreboding when you get next to them, because there's no more atmospheric haze, so they don't look like the mountains of Mordor.
Cool. Little rock formations and little cavelet things over there.
Looks like a skull.
Yeah.
Like a face, 2 eyes up there.
Maybe that's where Death Canyon came from.
Oh, that's just like Zelda.
Ooh, Death Mountain.
Some sort of sign up here. I wonder what it is. Entering Death Shelf Camping Zone.
From this point on the trail, we decided to whoop and see if Bryan could hear us.
As we hiked, we saw a little marmot lying flat on the warm rocks.
The marmot seemed quite relaxed as he enjoyed the spacious accommodations.
Looking at the shelf from below, it doesn't seem like it's possible that there would be this much area to walk on. It looks just like this little sliver, and there's just this huge area here.
The trail headed downhill now, revealing an open, sloping hillside.
It's actually so wide, I don't think the trail's ever going to be like right up on the cliff like we thought.
Yeah.
But we get a great view of the Granite Teton.
We continued onward, searching for a perch along the cliff's edge where we could get a view of the whole valley.
Eventually, we found a wide, gravelly section of the trail that went closer to the edge, but the view wasn't quite as different as we had expected.
Still beautiful, but probably just as beautiful as where we're going to go.
Sure. All right. I'm satisfied after the risotto.
We backtracked on the trail, making our way through the flowery meadows to the shady little resting spot where Bryan awaited our return.
How was it?
Medium.
Why do you say that?
You couldn't really see that much. We got to the edge, and it was kind of cool. I don't regret doing it, but you don't need to feel bad for not going.
No, I think the views that I'm seeing right here are good too.
Yeah, just as good, really.
I mean, that's the point of those, I guess, is a gamble.
It is kind of funny, though. It's like getting greedy for the win. It's like you have this amazing view. Like, I bet I could get it a little better.
Oh man, this is all melted now.
That looks absolutely terrible. Is it good?
It's whatever. Not bad.
Have you ever said that anything's bad?
Actually, yeah.
What?
Okay, the first one that comes to mind is the chicken sandwich we had before we went to North Manitou Islands most recently. It was dry and not good.
Oh, my sandwich at Bucky's this trip.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've had soup dumplings from a place and they weren't even soupy. They were just dry. Those were pretty bad.
Soup dumplings that didn't have soup?
Oh yeah.
After our snack break, we enjoyed the stunning view in front of us before hiking out. Now, it was on to the next leg of our journey, and the landscape ahead felt like it belonged to an exotic, far-off land. As we hiked, we came across a couple of viewers who recognized us from afar.
Hi, my name's Rob. This is my wife Molly.
Hi.
And we're just huge fans of your guys'
Yeah?
show. Thank
Big
you so
Adventure
much
Archives
for
fans?
spending all the time to go out and do this. It's really inspired us to do it as well. We love you guys. Keep it up. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We got a sign on the left.
The sign marked the boundary of the national park, but there was also a path leading off the main trail.
We saw a super nice looking lake way in the distance, and we think it's just over this hill here.
The lake looked quite peaceful, but we decided to stay on the main trail. Just nearby, there were some strange geological formations on the ground.
We've got these like volcanic rock lava tube looking things, but look down this hole right now.
The holes weren't as deep as they looked at first, but they were still a strange sight to find in this landscape. Now we continued on.
Spearhead Peak loomed in the distance. We were hoping to make some distance and camp on the other side of the landmark, near the opposite park boundary.
The trail came right up to a melting snowfield, and I was curious how well the snow packed, so I decided to give it a little test.
After that, we continued hiking through this craggy, otherworldly landscape. We crested another small incline, and at the top, we could see that Spearhead Peak was still far off in the distance.
Oh man, we still got a ways to go. Today is actually our shortest day. Starting to feel a little bit like it's the longest though.
Luckily for us, the trail was flat and smooth as far as the eye could see.
Man, it's crazy we're just on this highland now. It's all flat here, but we climbed so much elevation to get here. And you can just so clearly tell that the environment has changed. This is like the Mongolian steppes or something.
I think you can see the trail we were on earlier.
Oh wow.
Up towards the shelf.
Yeah.
The further we hiked, the more strange this landscape seemed, especially in comparison to the valley we had just hiked out of this morning.
That almost looks like an abandoned parking lot or something.
I mean, we could set up tents up on that. That'd be really
yeah, it's like
really
there's no
flat.
shortage of flat, open spaces at least. A massive valley right over here too.
As we hiked, some other hikers had told us there weren't many campsites, but that it was best to look around the patches of trees.
Sure enough, a little bit further on the hill, we found a perfect looking place to set up camp nestled beneath the shade.
Hacha! Oh man, you have led us to the promised land.
Is this our best campsite ever? Look at that view.
Go check it out.
Magnificent. Just wonderful.
Yeah, when we said don't get your hopes up, we were completely wrong.
Not only was it a fantastic sight, but the view we had was one of the best we'd ever seen. We offloaded our gear and took a moment to sit and rest.
How's everyone feeling?
Feel pretty great. This is a much better campsite than I was expecting.
Yeah, this is nice. Got some tree cover.
Yeah,
excellent view.
They break the wind really well too.
Yeah. There are pros and cons for sure. Pro is shaded, beautiful views. Con is we got to hike a little bit further tomorrow, but that's okay.
How's the elevation treating you?
Same as it was yesterday. When I get winded, I feel like my breathing just doesn't do anything. I know it's different because I've been on enough hikes with you guys to know what I feel like when I'm exhausted, right? And this just feels totally different. It just feels like all the energy is sapped from me, and there's like, it'll never come back. It's a really weird feeling.
You know, we're gonna be out here long enough that by the end of it, you'll probably be feeling pretty good. Yeah. When it does you no good.
Tomorrow is a lot of like moderate up and down and lots of downhill, and then at the very end there's not a great uphill, but
I would treat it as if tomorrow is going to be the hardest day because
just the distance and
yeah.
After discussing our plans, we enjoyed some snacks.
I think this wag bag trail mix thing needs to re-solidify overnight. God. Still tastes good. There's a fruit snack glued into that.
You can see Andrew's salt.
Yeah.
Like a crustacean or something.
Why are my legs still so pale after?
I think it takes more than a day. Unless you get sunburned.
As the afternoon sun shone above, We decided to get more comfortable, using our backpack covers and tent footprints to lie on the ground without getting the dry, dusty dirt all over us.
It was a lazy afternoon, and we enjoyed all the free time we had to relax and take in the scenic sights around us. After a little while, though, we motivated ourselves to get moving and set up the tents, so that we wouldn't have to think about it later. And after getting everything set up, I indulged in a little tent time.
How is it?
Flat. You need a pillow, Andrew.
I do. I really wish I remembered to get one.
Did you say Thomas had 2 pillows?
Well, he uses one of his sacks and inflates it as like a behind the pillow pillow.
Oh, behind the pillow pillow.
It's a headrest. Trust me, it's great.
Some more time passed us by, and we could feel our stomachs growling. Now it was time to enjoy some dinner.
We got the water boiling and started hydrating our meals. Now it was time to dig in. All right, let's do an audit of your spoon first. Do we have the long spoon? We do. Okay, good.
I used it last night.
Just want to make sure you're not
cheating on us.
Not cheating on us, exactly. Thank you.
That regular spoon.
I got the beef pasta marinara. This is looking good.
I got the chicken Alfredo.
It is very good.
Mm.
Yeah, I think you gotta let the meat rehydrate for a little bit longer at these altitudes.
Do you guys feel like you have enough food for the whole trip?
I feel like I have too much, but I think that might be because I have a tendency to undereat on hiking trips just because I don't feel hungry.
I feel like I have too little food this time. Probably could have thrown an extra Cliff Bar on each day or something.
Well, a lot of people seem to think we don't eat much on trips. I think part of it for me is out here I already feel fulfilled and I'm not trying to fill any sort of void with mindless boredom eating.
Time for beef stroganoff part 2.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Yo, beef stroganoff that is a hiking meal right there.
That is the best.
Okay, so got a treat for everybody. This is from Dara, and he had previously sent us some Persian snacks, and he is continuing the tradition. This is called Sohan. It's a brittle toffee made with flour, butter, sugar, rose water, and other ingredients, and topped with slivered almonds and pistachios.
Thank you, Dara.
Thank you. Let's be a little careful opening these.
Think it? It's a nutty toffee.
Yeah, it's got like a gingery taste.
Oh, yeah.
Or turmeric, maybe?
Oh.
Turmeric?
The way it looks, you'd think it would taste like a caramel or peanut butter, but it's got that gingeriness to it that's really good.
This is so good.
I think there's some cardamom in there too. I really don't like whole almonds, but I like almonds in any other form.
Yeah, whole almonds are garbage.
The slivered almonds are great.
After we ate, we saw a Clark's nutcracker bird chattering noisily above us. Now, we retreated to the tents for some man vs. wild and relaxation as we waited for the stars to come out.
Just so you know, my pale arm turns into a nightlight.
How was Bear Grylls?
It was great. We watched the Alaska episode.
We didn't have any entertainment, so we were just looking at our map, pretending that it was entertaining to look at.
Any insight for tomorrow's hike?
There's going to be a lake tomorrow. That'll be a good stopping breaking point. And then plenty of water along the way.
Yeah, the hike shouldn't be too bad. We're going to stop before the big uphill, I think, because there's probably better chances of finding a campsite before then.
Cool. Well, I'm going to pass out for a little bit.
Go.
I'll probably see you guys when it gets dark.
All right.
Yeah.
Later that evening, we watched the setting sun, which glowed a warm amber hue, illuminating the fields of wildflowers that surrounded our campsite. Crane flies darted about, pollinating the flowers and enjoying the sweetness of their nectar as the sun sank lower. Nature is often portrayed as chaotic, random, and unforgiving, but this serene evening, like the thousands that had come before it, felt unmistakably divine. The air seemed to be abuzz with life, swirling about in a spirited but harmonious manner. And as the sun sank, it cast the distant mountains in the most brilliant colors.
Dusk fell. Back in our tents, we were goofing around as we awaited the stars.
Look, the stinger's still wiggling away. I'll tell you what.
Now, we rolled out of bed to check out the night sky.
When I first poked my head out, I saw a shooting star, but these clouds just quickly rolled in.
A clear sky is like the whole day.
Yeah. But they look kind of just like misty clouds, nothing too thick. I think the chill of the night is going to make me ready to sleep.
The starry night was brilliant at first, but a layer of clouds soon rolled in. We didn't realize it at the time, but there was an aurora happening this night, and our camera just barely caught some of the pink and green hues illuminating the sky. And later that night, we saw a buck grazing just a few yards outside our tent.
The next morning, we awoke to the pitter-patter of a light rain and the rustling of a passing gust.
It was a cloudy, cold morning, and the wildflowers and trees seemed to be shivering like we were.
In the distance, we could see a plume of clouds swirling around the peak of the Grand Teton.
Thomas went and grabbed the bear canisters.
Special delivery.
And after that, we started breaking camp.
It was incredibly blustery, and we had to make sure none of our gear flew off into the wind as we packed up. But eventually, the sun broke through the clouds and offered up some of its warmth.
Wow, this is an intense morning.
Yeah, it sounded way more intense in the tent, but it's actually looking quite nice.
I think we're just about ready to go, though. Got everything packed up in a huge hurry. So this is where the deer was grazing. I don't know if you can see any signs.
I see some broken stems here. This might have been what it was chewing. There's some like disturbed soil here, maybe.
Yeah, it was grazing this area. It's right next to this rock.
After searching for signs of the grazing deer, we grabbed our gear and headed out. We now followed the trail along the rest of the Jedediah Wilderness, and in today's blustery weather, the landscape seemed that much more rugged and exotic.
As we hiked, we talked about the previous night we had had.
So you slept pretty well, right?
Yeah.
Have you started to dream about food like me?
A little bit here and there.
I have adequate food, but not enough to stuff myself.
Only thing that lays between us and that pizza is 2 more nights of backpacking and about 150 miles worth of driving.
The landscape around us was unbelievably majestic, a gritty, sprawling wilderness. But as we crested a hill, we saw some distant signs of civilization.
Did you see down there? There's some farms down there. Kind of wild to think that the Grand Teton, you can see right there, they're just right in front of some farms.
The craggy, stone soil was in stark contrast to the lush, vibrant greenery that grew from it. The contradictory nature of this place added to its feeling of otherworldliness.
And just as we started grasping one unfamiliar world, the rolling hills revealed another behind them.
It feels like there are just more and more secret worlds hidden behind each other. With every hill that you crest, you just see a whole new landscape.
Up ahead, Andrew spotted some wildflowers.
So these are also Indian paintbrushes, and these ones are kind of a pale yellow. There's also a bunch of caterpillars on these too.
There are about a dozen species of paintbrushes in the Tetons, and a single species can have a wide variety of colors.
We kept hiking. Directly ahead of us was Housetop Mountain, and eventually we reached the boundary of the Jedediah Wilderness.
We are now back in the national park. So we made up the distance pretty quickly, I'd say.
As we entered the official park boundary once again, the trail led us downhill, giving us a fantastic view of the environment ahead of us. And along the trail's edge were even more colorful wildflowers.
It's amazing, even up here, there's all these different colored flowers. These ones, like the lupines, are in the pea family. This is some sort of a vetch plant. Vetches tend to have these leaves that kind of grow almost like a fern leaf or something. Plants like this also tend to fix nitrogen in the soil. But yeah, also there's all these different colors of paintbrushes. There's these pale yellow ones, these kind of palish orange ones, and the deep red ones. So pretty.
And off in the distance, we could see the crisp blue waters of Marion Lake.
I was really looking forward to swimming in that lake, and then it was so cold up there that I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to. But I think that it has warmed up just enough that I'm going in.
I was really hoping it would warm up because I could use a nice full shower.
I mean, right as I was saying that, the sun came out.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Come on. Come on, it's happening.
Wow, look at the color on that too. The shallower parts have this turquoise color.
That's the clearest water I've ever seen. So that's Marion Lake, and there's actually a campsite for it right there. Our initial plan was actually to stay here, but the permits are pretty hard to get, so we had to fall back to Fox Creek Pass. But oh man, that is some inviting looking water.
We hurriedly made our way down the trail, excited to explore the lake and the area around it.
And just as we neared the lake, the sun broke through the clouds, beckoning us into the water.
Yo, I'm getting in. Oh my God, that is beautiful.
As Robby waded into the lake, I scrambled to join him, but apparently it was a bit colder and slimier than he expected.
Come on in, Andrew. The water is not fine.
Oh, yeah, that is very slimy. Is this water gonna make me feel clean or just slimy?
I think it's just the ground that's slimy. The water's good.
I do need this. Good. Yeah. I'm gonna dunk my chest really quick.
Okay, I'll go with you, mate.
Oh, sorry. I'll pull it too. Oh, that's cold. It's actually not that cold. It's just that it's not super warm out.
I wish I was a better swimmer. Like,
I mean, I could, I guess.
Just do a quick lap around me.
Or hold my glasses. Okay. Oh, this sounds awful.
Before the marker on the map, right?
Yeah, we started before that. Oh, one more dunk.
Oh, that actually feels really good.
Slow dunk.
After our dip, we dried off in the sun by the shore.
Bathing in a natural body of water is like so great when you're backpacking. Like I feel like this just brought my little Sims crystal back to green.
The sun has come through.
Yeah.
After the others finished wading in the lake, we explored the rest of the area.
Wow. This is a top 10 lake.
Yeah, this is a nice little area. Look at this rock.
Just swim and then beat yourself on the rock like a seal.
Great.
Small flowers sprouted from the cracks in the rock. It seemed like in every nook and cranny there was something beautiful to behold.
Now, we hiked past the lake, where we crested another small hill, which revealed more of the landscape around us.
It really is like you get to another area and it's like another city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Feels like a different environment.
The trail now led us down to a small creek where we decided to fill up on water for the hike ahead.
And as Robby gathered the water, I took a look around.
There's always all sorts of plants growing by the water. Here we've got some bluebells, and this delicate white flower is something called fringed grass of Parnassus. And the reason it has the word fringed in the name is if you look closely, each petal has these delicate little fringes on their edges. They're really beautiful with their delicate, slender stalk. And then we've got more lupines and some asters.
After that, we continued on. The trail crested another hill, revealing the beginning of Granite Canyon.
The scenery around us was beautiful, but even more stunning was the wildlife. A small butterfly sat on some colorful flowers, and in the distance we saw a western tanager perched on the stalk of some larkspur flowers. We watched as the tanager continually took off and alighted back onto the flowers. Upon closer inspection, it seemed that it was struggling to pluck off a nearby caterpillar for food.
helicopter passed overhead, and we continued down the trail. In part because of the weather, this section of the hike felt especially secluded from the rest of the world.
Along the way, we saw some sort of jelly fungus, possibly in the genus Tremella. Now, the trail led us towards another valley whose hillsides were littered with large granite boulders.
As we made our way into the valley, flocks of birds darted around in the air.
Now we entered the valley. The lush, verdant greenery made the bright white granite stand out even more starkly.
I wonder if this is like a raging torrent at some times of the year.
I suppose that could be the case. It looks like water would definitely flow through here.
Ooh. These feel like the ruins of an ancient Greek metropolis. Wow, this is crazy. This is so incredible.
So what area is this technically that we're in right now?
Yeah, Upper Granite. Yeah, we're about to get into Upper Granite and then get into Mount Hunt area.
Cool. Yeah, you can see where it got its name.
Yeah.
Those are granite rocks and they're upper. Are they granite? I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
We now came to the trail junction. From here, we would head east, back in the direction where our adventure had started.
Water rushed beneath the bedrock of the valley, and the vivid colors of wildflowers popped amid all the greenery.
The valley opened up, revealing a sunny, heavenly meadow teeming with life.
So is this what our yards would look like if we didn't plant grass? Would it have naturally occurring flowers and stuff like this?
Yeah, most likely. Nowadays, there'd be a lot of flowers that are non-native, but are still beneficial in certain ways. But most likely you'd see it grow into something like this, except with a more eastern US ecology, eventually turn into a prairie. There's a thing called succession where naturally a landscape would turn into a prairie and then into a forest and then into like even bigger forests.
Nearby, we also saw some beautifully indigo-colored mountain bog gentian flowers.
The trail took us past a babbling brook. Just beyond that was a sign demarcating another camping zone.
Entering Upper Granite Canyon camping zone. So we're gonna pass through this entirely, and then the next camping zone is Mount Hunt, and that is where we'll be staying tonight. Which in retrospect, maybe Upper Granite would have been good. Well, if we were staying here, they really didn't make you wait long. Just like campsite right here. Just wanna take a quick snack break?
Sure, yeah.
At the start of the hike, I was like, ooh, I got so much food, but I had it pre-rationed, and I'm really glad I did, because if I didn't, today I would have been in trouble.
I've got plenty of extra trail mix if people want. Pickled cashews in it. I'm feeling good about today's hike. What do you guys think?
Feeling good.
It's a nice change of pace.
That lake super got my blood flowing.
After resting for a while, we continued our hike. Eventually, we came to another junction.
So Granite Canyon is that way, and then Mount Hunt and Open Canyon are to the left here. And we're taking the left way.
On a distant hill, we saw a man-made structure, which I thought might be the tram at Teton Village.
Robby, I think you're right. I think that is the tram up there, because Rendezvous Mountain is where the tram goes up to.
We hiked onward, and the trail immediately shot uphill.
This is very steep though.
Actually, yeah, this might be the steepest we've encountered so far. Wow.
At the top of the sudden incline, we saw a grouse sitting amid the dense meadow vegetation. And then the grouse started calling.
The grouse kept calling, and we could just barely make out some of the babies in the grass as well.
Oh,
After that, we continued on. This section of the trail was a bit more overgrown and was clearly not as heavily traversed. Before long, we entered the next camping zone.
Looks like there's 2 streams that will cross in this area. And I think it'll be good to camp kind of close, not too close to the second one if we can. That way, we don't have to do as much upward hiking tomorrow. And it's also just 1:30 still. It gives us plenty of time to not burn ourselves out as we go uphill for the rest of the day here.
Wow, clearly, as you guys said, this place is not as trafficked as the other trails because it is very overgrown.
Although this trail was less traveled, its views did not disappoint. Distant mountains perfectly framed the valley below, and aspen trees shook in the alpine breeze. Beyond the aspens, stands of spruce and fir grew tall into the sky.
Just a little bit into the camping zone, we came across a nice spot.
That looks like a great campsite.
Yeah, I think we should keep going, but it looks good. Not bad, not bad. It's actually not the best though. Yeah, I can see the tram again.
We passed over a stream surrounded by flourishing wildflowers. Further down the trail, we came to an open hillside with a lone tree growing from it.
Sometimes aspen trees like that will actually create little shoots that are clones of itself. There's a famous one, I believe, in Colorado, where it's basically an entire forest, but it's all technically one organism. So with that tree, you can see that there's all these little shoots growing around it. It might just be little clonal sprouts. The second stream crossing, which means we have maybe a bit, like a mile-ish left to go, and then we'll get to a third stream crossing, which is around where we're gonna be camping. It's funny how different this feels from the rest of the trip, partly because the weather just being overcast, but also everything's overgrown. This whole time we don't really have much of a view of the mountains. So it feels like, I don't know, a little gloomy, even though the hike itself hasn't been that bad.
This feels much more like our typical hikes.
Yeah.
In a forest.
But just as we said that, we found an offshoot path leading to a stunning view.
Wow.
From here, we had a better view of the Teton Village tram in the distance. Now, we continued on, keeping an eye out for potential campsites.
Looks like we've got a fair bit of choices in this forest area. It looks like someone has camped here before. It's not bad.
Oh, there's some more clearings up ahead too.
Oh yeah, I say we keep going then.
Let's check it out.
We scouted ahead, but the other clearing wasn't as good, so we kept moving. And as we hiked, the views became even more stunning.
I don't think I fully appreciated just kind of the views we'd see up on this cliffside. We could see the tram all the way at the top here. You can see Jackson Hole Airport down there. When we were driving in, this is the valley that we saw. And now we're literally on the side of one of those mountains. It's kind of crazy.
As we hiked, we saw a small flowering plant called sickletop lousewort. The trail continued along the hillside, and the steep slopes had us worried that we wouldn't find another good campsite.
Luckily though, the trail led into an area with a few sections of forest and much flatter terrain.
This looks a little more promising. This is where things start opening up. Whoa. What? Oh, pheasant.
The path led into the woods, where we finally found a campsite.
Okay, nice.
Very, very good.
Very satisfied. We even got a little sitting rock over there. Cool.
We hiked 7 miles today, according to my watch. Today was definitely not the hardest day.
No.
It ended up being quite easy.
Feels good to be at our campsite already. It's 3:14. Wow.
Pretty good for us.
Yeah.
Just as we were setting up camp, a light, gentle rain started falling. We decided to hang around outside and goof off for a bit before dinner.
Chewy!
Bear spray's right in my butt.
The nice thing about the rain is it's getting rid of the mosquitoes.
This is actually a very good campsite. Like, I didn't think we would get something this good.
It's giving Pacific Northwest vibes, you know?
And it is like right before the uphill, so we are about as optimal as we can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, everyone.
Do you guys have any big dinner plans?
Nope.
I do.
You mean for tonight?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, you have a different meal?
No, I mean, I'll tell you when I get to it.
Okay.
It's something and something.
I'm out of surprises, so.
Oh, okay.
The meal is just for me.
Okay, so that's just... So big plan... The word big and plan were a bit of exaggeration. You just had a different meal.
I had a dinner plan that I'm excited about.
It's funny, the rain stopped and the mosquitoes came right back out.
Afterwards, we were all hungry, so we decided to cook up some dinner. And the mountains again had some bizarre weather for us.
What on earth is happening right now? All right, so my big dinner plans were biscuits and gravy. This one is 1,100 calories, which is just what I'm looking for.
It smells good from here. I could smell that.
That is mind-blowing. My mind is blown right now.
Well, I've got the butternut dalbat again, so I know what I'm expecting, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right, you can sample my wares.
That's like you're eating a cloud.
That's good.
Shouldn't have had that biscuits and gravy because now it's released the floodgates for my appetite. I'm starting to salivate.
Honestly, tonight I could eat 2 meals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great.
All right, Oreo, anyone? Oreo?
We definitely had... I don't know. We definitely had a lot of...
After dinner, we returned to camp for some ultimate relaxation, sleeping mats, and Bear Grylls.
I forgot one thing.
So we have mosquitoes right now.
I bet you some good sound waves will make the mosquitoes go away. Woo!
I'll put it up right there.
If you allow sweat to freeze on your body, hypothermia will come on twice as fast.
Look at him going into that hole.
Later that evening, we retreated to our tents to rest, and Robby sent Bryan over to investigate what we were up to.
Watching random videos on their phones.
While Bryan was over there, Andrew showed him a recording of a Man vs. Wild scene he had randomly had on his phone.
Just tries to... cracks it on his own teeth for some reason. And then just eats the shell anyway. Oh, God.
The next morning, we were greeted by a quiet, chilly air with an overcast sky. After packing up our gear and making ourselves less groggy, we got ready to head out.
You all right?
See you guys. Oh ho. Oh ho 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 ho.
We had a large uphill coming up soon, but after that, the rest of our hike would be a nice downhill.
Our pace is so leisurely today that it feels a little bit like we're stalking through the jungle in the movie Predator. I'm Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura.
Andrew, you're...
I'm what's that, Billy or whatever?
Oh, yeah, you're Billy. Bryan is Carl Weathers. Thomas, you can be Arnold.
Yeah, right.
Thomas is that one dude with the glasses. The dude with the glasses who's reading the comics or whatever. Something in these woods.
The trail now started ascending uphill. As the climb began, we were afforded more views of the distant hills on the opposite side of the valley. We now ascended a series of switchbacks up the side of a steep, meadowy hillside.
As we climbed higher, rain started falling from the clouds above.
We grabbed our rain gear as we prepared for the rainy ascent ahead.
A little bit of a challenge before that smooth sailing back to the camp.
We now left the Mount Hunt camping zone, though something had knocked the sign over.
I'm just really curious, how did this get bent? You think it was a rock?
Probably.
There's a horseshoe in there too. You can see the nails in here.
That's crazy. Cool.
Rain continued drizzling as we made our way uphill, and the hillsides became steeper as we climbed.
Quite a drop.
Yeah.
And up ahead, we saw some lush vegetation.
So do you know what they are?
I don't know exactly what, but it is something in the aster family, which is what flowers like sunflowers and dandelions and chicories are in. Typical classical Indian flower, you know, with the radial patterns, or petals. It smells kind of fragrant.
Oh, it smells great.
We kept climbing higher in elevation as the trail went between exposed, rocky hillsides and shaded patches of trees.
This kind of reminded me of the Kumanakoto on the third day, where the rain just kept coming and coming, but we'd be treated with all these wonderful cloudy views. And I mean that sincerely. The mountains here are beautiful but covered in clouds, just like it was then. We trudged onward, and as we crested one section of the trail, another magnificent valley view was revealed to us.
We thought the view of that valley was great earlier, but you can just see for miles.
In the distance, we could see Jackson Hole Airport, which was 6 miles away from us as the crow flies.
Along with the view of the surrounding mountains, we could see rain falling far in the distance.
And it didn't take long for the rain to start falling near us either.
We just heard some thunder from that direction, and we're pretty close to the top of the uphill here, so we're gonna try to book this as fast as possible because we have a huge decline that we can go down. It'll be much safer down there because right now we have no tree cover. About to hear a big one. Yep, let's go.
We hustled as quickly as we could towards a dense patch of trees. Our hearts were pounding as we raced up the steep incline.
Tree line is right here.
All right. The rain is right on top of us though. That's lightning. Hail.
Oh, Andrew, give me the tripod. Yep. Got it?
Yep.
Got the camera?
Sorry about the goosey.
Good fish, Robby?
Yeah. It's moving away from us, thankfully. It started over there. It's moving in that direction. Not great, Bob.
Well, obviously we just wait here till it passes. I don't think we have any other choice.
Definitely.
This certainly is exhilarating.
I wanted to get wet from swimming in Phelps Lake, not hail on top of a mountain.
I wonder if the weather will clear up at all today or not.
Well, as you say that, it stopped raining.
Yeah.
It's not gonna clear up though, for a while.
We needed to catch our breath, but we wanted to get into some denser tree cover, and ideally, go past the uphill and get lower in elevation.
More tree cover up ahead. get to. We're very close to the downhill, which is good news. So if it starts raining again later today, we'll at least be headed down.
Yeah, we're really close.
Yeah, can we go over the tree cover?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely moving away from us, which is great. That one was pretty close. Yeah. Okay.
For the rain. Yo there! Woo! I'm exhausted. Are these the craziest conditions we've hiked in?
I feel like we've been in worse.
Well, going uphill on a mountain though?
Yeah, maybe not.
This is like what we avoided, or what you guys avoided at the Adirondacks.
Yeah, basically. We're already on the mountain. Well, the rain has let up. I don't know if it's over, but it's not as strong right now.
I think when we hear the thunder getting really quiet, we can move. But
After just a short while, the storm passed by. The sky cleared a bit, and we were on the move once again.
What have you? What was that, maybe 5 minutes? 10 minutes? 10. Yeah, and just like that, totally clear again.
In the distance, we could see Mount Hunt, and I spotted a strange plant called a pine drop.
I can tell you just from looking at it, it is a parasitic plant that feeds off of the nutrients from the roots of these trees. And you can see how it's red because it doesn't need any green chlorophyll to get nutrients or energy from the light, because it just gets all its energy from other plants.
We now came to a section of the valley, which we noticed had impressive acoustics.
Yo, bear! Quite an echo.
Wow, the tranquility. This is really weird. Just a minute ago, it was chaos.
Mountain weather, man.
But despite our newfound tranquility, the storm had left slick, muddy trails in its wake.
All along the trail were dried up, rocky creek beds surrounded by vibrantly green vegetation.
Yo, bear!
We were nearing the top, which meant we were close to Open Canyon, where there had been recent bear activity. On top of that, it looked like rock slides were prone to happen on this section of the trail.
Well, let's not linger in this area.
In the distance, we saw a beacon of hope.
Sign up ahead.
Yo, bear! Yo, bear! Elevation 9,710 feet. Congratulations, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
It is downhill from here. Literally speaking, not metaphorically. Woo!
So are we back in Death Canyon?
No, entirely different canyon.
This is
Open
Canyon. All right, so this is where the ranger said there was a very food-aggressive bear wandering around. So even though it's downhill, I think we're gonna try to stick together. Keep in mind it also might be a little muddy on some parts. But luckily it looks like we're in a nice forested valley now. Less exposed. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'll let someone else take point.
Yo, bear! Yo, bear! Yo, bear!
As we hiked, a misty haze rose from the distant valleys, and in the muddy trails we saw some signs of animal activity.
We keep seeing these hoof tracks. We're trying to figure out if it's horse or moose. I think it's horse just because some of these have the clear indentation of a horseshoe, but I'm no expert. But we were saying they look really fresh just because they're deep in the mud. But actually, if you look closer, even though they look really deep and have a good impression, you can see there's already debris that's filled into the track. And someone I know who hunts and tracks once told me that that means that the track is actually a little bit older because there's been time for things to fall into it. I think it's horse, but I don't know.
I think they're moose.
We weren't thinking clearly at the time, but these were definitely horse tracks, as moose have cloven feet.
The scenery now looked especially fantastical, with dense mist obscuring the horizon and jagged rocks jutting up from the earth.
Now, we approached another sign.
All right, this is the Open Canyon camping zone. And this is in particular where they said the bear was, right?
Yes.
So
keep an eye out. Stay close.
Keep your peepers peeled.
We didn't spot any bears yet, but we did see an impressive buck. Our path now descended below the trees and into the fog, taking us along a series of winding switchbacks.
The clouds swirled all around us, obscuring the views of distant hills. But just on the opposite side of the valley, we spotted something.
Okay, looks like we got a moose sighting.
It's looking right at me.
Okay, see it.
Brown.
Oh, yep.
The cow moose relaxed among the shrubs as we kept hiking, spotting other signs of wildlife along the way.
Oh, yeah, there we go. That's probably a deer. That might be a moose track.
You guys can just see the moose over here. It's pretty good.
You looking at us? Yeah.
We kept moving, and the rain started pouring down once again.
This is an adventure.
Well, I don't know about you gastropods.
Phelps wants to draw the black bear to us.
I am having a snack.
It's kind of cozy. This is sort of fun in a way.
It's better than earlier.
Yeah, that's for sure. Downhill is so much better than uphill.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying downhill's great, but
oh, for sure.
So much better.
I like how the sign was like, blah, 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 camping zone. And then there was just like one little flat spot and then nothing.
Go on, kid.
Sounds pretty close. Did you see how far we have left?
Under 4 miles. Doesn't sound great.
That doesn't sound great.
So, just putting this out there.
I
We
know
could
you're
stay in
gonna-
a hotel tonight.
I know you're going to say that.
The downhill seemed endless as we put one foot in front of the next, continuing onward through the drizzle. Every so often, we stopped to take a break and discuss our plans.
So, what is our criteria for staying or leaving?
That's a good question.
You know my thoughts already on this.
Cons. I don't want to pay $250 for a hotel.
Pro. Thomas might pay $250 for a hotel.
I guess it just depends. Like if we go to Phelps Lake and it's still just raining and storming,
Then what's
like,
the point, I guess?
What's the point, right?
If it gets nice and sunny, I'll be down to stay.
Yeah, if it's sunny.
Yeah, because basically if it's not going to get sunny, we're just going to be wet for the rest of the day.
Where do we draw the line at overcast? Overcast and damp.
I don't know. I feel like so much of it is an intangible thing that I won't know till I'm there.
Yeah. Until I actually am sitting next to that lake, I don't know if I want to stay or not.
Yeah.
I think our darkest hour has passed. It was time for an Allspark.
Yes. Ole.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I should have brought some of those. Because the thought of eating trail mix or Cliff Bar literally makes me want to gag.
Every flavor of the Oreo was permeating on every taste bud because I'm so hungry right now.
We carried on hiking, and I spotted something interesting.
So all along the trail, there's all this debris strewn about, and a lot of it is covered in this white melted looking stuff. Thankfully, this is not old toilet paper. This is actually fungal mycelium, which is basically the living body of any sort of fungus or mushroom that you see. You can kind of think of it as the root system of a plant. But yeah, this stuff is just all over this decaying wood, actively eating it and decaying it and getting nutrients from it.
Nice looking campsite. It's not too much longer to Phelps Lake after we cross this stream. And we can hear the stream pretty well now, so we should be getting close.
Leaving the open canyon camp zone.
Another campsite over here.
But the best campsite's right at the end of the zone.
I'm wondering what this stream crossing is going to be like. Hopefully a bridge or something. 'Cause this sounds treacherous.
Definitely a bridge there.
This bridge is kind of nice to just stand on after being in all those weeds.
We took a second to enjoy the sight of the water before continuing through the dense, shrubby trail.
The trail ascended uphill a bit, bringing us to another exposed hillside.
From this vantage point, we could see wisps of mist rising in the distance, as well as stretches of prairie below.
We stopped to take in the view, and I looked around at the flora growing nearby.
Now that we're lower in the elevation, we're seeing a lot more of this sagebrush, which is a very iconic plant of this whole area. If you drive through the Tetons in Yellowstone, you'll just see miles and miles of these bushes in the meadows. If you just rub one of the leaves a little bit and smell it, oh, it's so fragrant. Here, smell my finger. Oh!
Smells good. Is that sage?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Really good. Yeah. Always count on you to have the best reaction to a scent. It's like, finally, I can smell again. I don't know what species is preferred, but I know that some types of sage are also used as herbs in cooking. Oh, and also, white sage is often burned by Native Americans as a spiritual ritual to cleanse the area. All right, we are at the junction. 1.8 miles to Phelps Lake, according to this.
We've only done 3.4 miles from Mount Hunt Divide.
Yeah. What?
Feels like it's been 1,000 years hiking.
1.8 to Phelps Lake? That's horrible. This is horrible.
I feel like, well,
But
it's,
it shouldn't
I think,
be. It shouldn't be all downhill
I
at
don't,
that point.
according to old trails, it's less than that. At least the hike is easier and easier as we go.
So we have to go uphill again.
Well, that's if we go in the hotel, which is still up in the air.
Although we still had a ways to hike, the moment we saw Phelps Lake come into view through the trees, it felt like our journey was almost over already.
As we hiked along the path, we could see the Phelps Lake jumping rock in the distance.
15 years ago, we had jumped off this rock ourselves. Now, it seemed as though someone else was attempting to do the same.
We waited around for what felt like an eternity to see if he would jump, but unfortunately, after several false starts, it seemed like he never built up the nerve.
We didn't hear a splash or a loud scream, so I think he changed his mind. Well, while we were waiting for that guy, Thomas booked us a hotel.
I did. It's down in Jackson Hole, so.
Well, I guess the decision's been made.
The decision's been made.
All right, well, let's go to the lake,
All right,
do a little swim.
The closer we got to Phelps Lake, the more familiar the land around us started to feel. And off in the distance, we could see the mouth of Death Canyon, where our adventure had begun 3 nights ago.
We came to another junction, which meant the trail we were on now circumnavigated Phelps Lake.
And in the understory nearby, we saw a ruffed grouse wandering around.
And before long, we had arrived at the shores of Phelps Lake. By now, the sun had poked out just enough that we were actually able to go for that swim we were hoping for.
The sandy ground feels good too. Say this was a good end to the trip.
I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go fully under.
I think I'm gonna go for it. I think I'm gonna go for it.
Hold on, we gotta do it at the same time, right?
I'm keeping my head above, but.
Okay, at the same time. Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Woo! Hold it. Hold it. That's not too bad.
Actually, that's not bad.
I'm coming to you.
Okay. We're like guppies. Oh man.
After goofing around for a bit, I decided to go a little bit further into the lake.
It is surprisingly not that cold.
It's so shallow that when I do my swimming stroke, I can just
grab the ground and pull myself forward. This is a little slice of heaven. No. This is a big slice of heaven.
This is refreshing.
Let's practice our swim strokes. We'll start with the freestyle. And now, the backstroke. And now, the guppy. Oh yeah, guppy is the best.
Something like that.
Okay, now the breaststroke.
So that one is. I have no idea what that actually looks like on camera.
It looked like struggle.
To me, it felt like limbs flailing and water splashing.
After our swim in the lake, we all sat down together and reminisced about the good times we had enjoyed here all those years ago.
So we were here 15 years ago to the day.
Almost a month ago.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied not doing the jump.
Yeah. That jumping rock was a lot of fun back in the day, but I feel older and wiser, and my mind is also like going through horror scenarios where we land on something wrong.
It's funny though, because that's been kind of a recurring theme in my mind these last 4 days. How much has changed in the last 15 years? There's no way we could have done that 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
We were younger.
That's true.
Yeah, we were younger, but we were so much less experienced.
Can you believe just how perfectly Greedo planned this out? He was like, I'm going to make you struggle on this last hike, but reward you at the very end.
We also have to talk about the mountain man we met all those years ago, Black George.
We do.
We saw his cabin on the way in, but it was here where we found out about him because we were camping, and I think a ranger walked by and told us about him.
Yeah.
And he lived right at the trailhead of this Phelps Lake area. We visited him, and he made us root beer floats and just regaled us with all these amazing stories
of his past.
Yeah.
Some
more
full of
family
adventure,
friendly, yeah.
and some less family friendly than others.
Yeah.
But still a good experience nonetheless.
It was a really cool thing though, because he really did just give root beer floats to anybody who came and visited him.
Yeah.
You just had to shout yeehaw.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Yeah, I
that.
actually still have that photo now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Upstairs on my shelf. It's framed.
Oh, yeah.
The one where we're all standing on his porch.
May we all live to be that old and hand out root beer floats to people.
That guy was an inspiration because he lived such a full life and lived to tell the tales.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, at that time, such a good inspiration to just tell yourself, okay, I got to do at least a tenth of what he did in his life.
He's like the old man you meet before going on that journey, whether it's Obi-Wan or the man who gives you a sword. Just the journey itself has been the last 15 years.
He's the real most interesting man in the world.
Yeah.
It's like the quintessential mountain man.
Yeah.
But what do we think about the last 4 days here?
It was spectacular.
Tough, but
yeah,
very beautiful.
Beyond what I could have imagined, because we did the beginning of the trail, we camped over there, and then we left 15 years ago. But we saw the start of Death Canyon, and just all this time I've been wondering, I'm like, oh, what's back there? I bet it's pretty cool. And it's so much beyond what I could have imagined that I'm almost glad that it took us this long to get out there. That is like really built up that hunger, and you're just like, oh man, this is amazing.
It was a trip 15 years in the making.
And this is 10 years of Adventure Archives.
Yeah.
Actual 10 years.
That is crazy to think about.
Wild.
And a lot of things have changed, and a lot hasn't.
Yeah. That's what we've come to find as we've been reflecting is like so much is so different, but fundamentally also the same.
Yeah.
With our dynamic, our friendships.
There's certain things that were baked in from the start. Yeah. And then we kind of like deviated a little bit here and there, but
it's always about kind of coming home, right? To who you are, to where you're from, to what made you who you are. And this is really, in a sense, part of our home.
It had been an incredible journey, not just the past 4 days, but the past 15 years of discovering the beauty of nature altogether.
And we're grateful that during 10 of those years, we've been able to document and share with thousands of others who find adventure, serenity, and joy in the wild.
Returning here filled us with a newfound sense of excitement, a renewed connection to the divine beauty that can be found in the wilderness.
We will continue sharing our adventures with everyone in the hopes that we can inspire others the way that the places and people here in the Grand Tetons inspired us.
Cashmere's up to the north, and just over here a little bit to east is what they call Himachal Pradesh. It's like a state in India, and it's northern India. We were right up in the front range there in a pass. It was 14,999 feet, so I had to walk a foot higher to make the 15,000. But anyhow, while we were there were a bunch of shepherds bringing goats over. They looked like they had on long gray underwear, but with pleated skirts on the outside. And I said to this guy, I said, "This looks like something out of ancient Greece." And he says, "It is." He says, "These people came over with Alexander the Great, so they speak ancient Greek, they dress like ancient Greeks, they've got ancient Greek customs. Alexander the Great was over there 330 BC.
Oh, wow.
And these people had been moved back in that valley. They talk like Alexander might be coming back in a couple of months."
Secret fruit snacks. This is the real reward awaiting us.
You get a fruit snack. You get a fruit snack.
So the origin of the Death Canyon name, according to the National Park website, is, well, it says there's several theories, but the one it says is most likely is that the 1899 Thomas Bannon survey party wandered into the canyon and was never seen again.
That's such a morbid thing to name a canyon after. It's like, well, a group of people died in there, so let's just call it Death Canyon.
What are some of the other theories?
Why did they just name it after Thomas Bannon? Like,
Yeah.
They died.
That's a good point. I think this is the building where we met our parents back then, because they drove across
They must have stayed here.
Yeah, they drove across the country and gave us the car that they drove in and rented one. And I think we met them here.
Oh, baby. Dude. You said there's a spa?
Yeah, not in our room, but...
Like a hot tub? Ooh.
hot tub.
Hot tubbing it up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually really hungry again.
Burmy punch!
Tastes interesting, not like your traditional cider.
Well, that's good. Yeah, not too sweet.
Is that cabbage?
Yes.
Good. Thomas is hangry right now, I think. Yeah,
I'm making mistakes.
Oh my god.
Oh man, what did I do?
What'd you get?
It's fine.
Prime rib sandwich.
Damn. You can be sad with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sad with you.
Oh man. French dip, that's a great idea.
Man, awesome idea.
Back at Phelps Lake, baby. We got cold air, hot water, and cold water.
Fully submerged here.
Ooh, there's jets too. Good to massage my sore feet.
Where are the jets at? Oh.
There's like one here.
Where are the Benny and the Jets at?
The holidays are just around the corner, so why not get your family and friends an Adventure Archives gift? We've got all sorts of shirts, including some brand new designs, like this autumn leaf design, this sunset design, and this colorful Adventure Archives design. Don't miss some of our other shirts too, like these classic and timeless designs. And we've also got some more unique designs for those who want to stand out, like this 10-year anniversary Year of the Dragon shirt, celebrating 10 years of Adventure Archives. We've got all sorts of shirt designs to fit your needs, but on top of that, we've got other merch, like mugs, stickers, and more. Make sure you order today so you can get them in time for the holidays. Just click the link in the description below to browse all the amazing stuff we've got. And as always, thank you so much for watching and supporting our channel.
I just wanted to come here to Ren and Yvette's. This Ren and Yvette's, okay? Why this Ren and Yvette's? Why not Bryan and Sarah Kitsune's? I had a dream about this place. It's the second one I've had, but they're both the same. They start out that I'm in here. It's not day or night, but you know, sort of half night. And I'm scared like I can't tell you. Of all people, David and Jennifer Dickerson are standing right over there. They're in both dreams, and they're scared. I get even more frightened when I see how afraid they are. And then I realize what it is. There's a man in back of this place. He's the one who's doing it. I can see him through the walls. I could see his face. I hope that I never see that face ever outside of a dream. That's it. So, you came to see if he's out here. To get rid of this god-awful feeling.
Kelsey Gudradis wants to give a shout out to her mom and dad, Eric and Cheryl. Thanks for teaching her how to love the outdoors ever since she was little.
Christina Alvarez to Gavin Ryan.
Gavin Ryan here.
Captain, please come to the bridge.
On my way. What's the problem? I've had to shut down the warp engines, Captain. Why? Antimatter containment fields are fluctuating. It's nothing to worry about, though. We're on the edge of the neutral zone on impulse power and you're not concerned? I'll have the engines back online in no time, sir. Like you tracked down that faulty processing accelerator? I'm running a level 1 diagnostic. For 30 hours? It would never take you more than 4. You're incapable of that level of incompetence, Miss Christina Alvarez. James Rokitsky, where did you get that scar? In combat. What battle? When? Which sector? Which unit? Miss May Beameray? If we left immediately, when would we arrive at Outpost 23? At Warp 1 in 3 days, 4 hours. How about at Warp 7? At Warp 8? At Warp 9? What's the matter, Miss Beameray? What happened to those millions of calculations per second? Pardon me, sir. I'm experiencing subspace interference, which limits my abilities. I can't operate as quickly as... What did you say? I said I cannot operate... No, that's not what you said. You said I can't. You used a contraction, didn't you? Sir, I can't explain if you would just give me a moment. No, you can't! Don't even try! Captain, perhaps it would be best if we discuss this. Shut up, Bryan Yamagata. I beg your pardon? I said shut up, as in close your mouth and stop talking. Gavin, I sense how upset you are. You are angry and impatient. Asi Yamagata, back off. Well, would anyone else like to speak up? Or shall we end this charade?
Ryan Kimba from Beach Painting says, shout out to my new fiance, the best hiking companion in the entire world. Here's to many miles, going over the dirt and under the blue. I love you, Nana Bear.
Alright, I've just arrived here again at the San Juan Wild Preserve, and I'm here to show you some more survival tips that's going to help you survive. Now, let's take a look and see what we can find. The San Juan Preserve is a huge tract of land spanning over 1 kilometer square. It's known for having tourists who get lost at least once every decade. Just in the last 20 years, a couple, Joey and Mella, were lost here for over 30 minutes. They were eventually found by other tourists after they found their way back to the trail. I'm going to show you the tricks you need to know to get out of here alive. Now what we have here is our typical shelf fungus. You can see that they're called this because they're like a shelf. And normally you wouldn't see these things out in nature. You'd find them in houses with elves on them, but these are particularly sturdy. Now you'll find these growing usually on dead debris like this one, but it's good to know that these are not edible. So we're going to move on. Now this right here is a great find. This is known as a Mary Sincavage tree. Usually at the base of these trees you'll find food. No one knows why, and the food isn't even related to the tree. But let's take a look. Oh, I think we have something. Yes, you'll see right here, I've found a pumpkin or gourd or some sort of vegetable. Now, This looks like it's pretty fresh, so I'm going to take this back to my shelter. We're going to have some good pumpkin soup tonight. Take a look at this. If you look carefully, you can see signs of civilization. I think we may have found our way out, and I think my journey may be over.
And we want to give a special shout out to Dan Volkins.
Also, shout out to Crystal and Andrew on your engagement. We are wishing you all the happiness in the world. Andrew, try not to forget the ring at the wedding.
So, Douglas Jackson, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've brought in today? Well, I ordered this piece off GreatLakesWatercraft.com in 1995. I just thought the color was so beautiful, and it's been sitting in my living room ever since. Well, the color is certainly striking, and what you have is a box made up of iridescent abalone shell, and you can see where they've inlaid all these different pieces, really taking advantage of that fantastic color. This would have been originally made in the 1920s, and what we have here is a recreation of the original design. Now, if you look at the bottom of the box, you can see the word alpaca stamped into it. And this was actually the pseudonym of the craftsman Sunjian Huang. Oh, wow. Wow. Now, the way we know this was a recreation is because the bottom has these rounded nubs on them. What did you say that you bought these for? I bought it for $35. Well, the good news is, even though it's a recreation, I would estimate that this would go for about $1,000 to $2,000 at auction. And I've discussed it with my colleagues Sue and Tan, and they all seem to think so too. And in fact, they say that's a conservative estimate. Wow. That is stunning, I gotta say. That is stunning. Alright, Jasper Caps, what have you brought to me today? So, I have here a carving of a lion that I purchased at an art boutique in Manhattan back in 1967. And it is a lovely carving. Do you know anything about it? Well, I was told it was an original by Marion G.G. Yes, you are correct about that. If we look at the bottom of the piece, we can see this symbol carved out here. This was her artist signature that she would carve into every piece that she made. The piece is actually carved of clay. They would mold the clay, let it harden, and then carve these lines out of it. You can see it's got this lovely white glaze on some of the highlights of the lion, as well as this brown nose and these vibrant blue eyes. Now, how much do you suppose this is worth? I searched online and it seemed like it could go for a couple $100. Now, normally I would agree, but because this piece has the glaze on it, that actually tells us that this was a collaboration with the famed artists Jenna Spitzer and Matthias Vakar. A piece like this is extremely rare, and I would put a conservative estimate of its value at about $7,000. Oh wow, I am flabbergasted, I must say. Absolutely shocked. Now, Chris Higginbottom, you've brought us a lovely piece today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Well, this was a piece my parents always had displayed in their window. I believe they purchased it at an art auction house in Chicago in 1984, but beyond that I couldn't tell you much about it. Well, it is certainly a whimsical, playful piece of glass art, and you can see they've inlaid all these different baubles here between the glass. Now, one thing I want you to pay attention to is this bird right here. Okay. This is the stamp of a swallowtail, and this was actually a key piece that was always included in the works of Leon and Lou Lin, famed Chicago glassworkers. Oh wow, I had no idea. And there's no pieces missing from this, which is a good sign, and I would value this at about $10,000. Wow, that is great.
Now, according to plant identifier. This is a Wyoming paintbrush. Alright, we've just arrived at the Super Motel 8, and look what happened when we turned the TV on. Big Grylls!
Alright, be on the lookout for cave trolls. Here's a cave troll! It was a stealth cave troll! You gotta be careful, keep your wits about you, don't be intimidated! This cave troll's dying, I'm going to cut it up and eat it for dinner.
Bryan Grylls here, coming bearing freshly caught food. I've fashioned these out of some wheat I found in the field. I found some cows and made my own links using the intestines. What's the significance of this label that you obviously painted of berry juice? This is Oscar Mayer. Alright, here we are on the final day of my survival. As you can see, I'm almost out of supplies. I didn't bring that much. I've gone through really fast because I'm Bear Grylls. The most gruesome part of this trip, the hardest part, would be the flight back home because it's going to just be really scary. I have a fear of heights, but you can't tell anyone that, okay? Some marshmallows. It's good for sugar and energy. And here's some guy, I don't know who he is, but he's taking my food. It looks like my journey's almost over. I'm Bear Grylls.
Whole grain crunchies, plump fruit and chunky malt is a must-have. It's an adventure in a bowl.